What would you do if you ran out of butter, if there was no store within miles and you had no cows in the pasture to give cream so you could do a little churning? Well, you could do what they did on the Yukon River way back in 1887. And here I quote from the new book, Sourdough Sagas by Herbert Heller. We ran out of butter, so my partner said to bring in a big set of caribou horns. We chopped the horns in two and then into pieces 10 inches long. He gave me a big pot and said to put the horns in it. I filled the pot with snow, water, and then we boiled this for 2 nights and a day. Then we took it off the stove, took out the horns, and put the pot to cool. In about 2 hours, there was 2 inches of white butter on top of the water. We took off the butter, put in some salt, and we had as good butter as any, except that it was white in color. The early sourdoughs were not only ingenious, but they were practical as well. And Sourdough Sagas tells of a sign in a Klondike roadhouse. Spiked boots must be removed at night. Dogs not allowed in bunks. Candles and hot water charged extra. Towels changed weekly. Special rates to ministers and gamblers. Sourdough Sagas is the work of 2 Alaskans separated by a generation, Lynn Smith and his nephew Herbert Heller. Lynn Smith sampled all the gold rushes in the Northland, the Klondike, Rampart, Nome, Fairbanks, Hot Springs, Ruby, and Flat. In 1926, when he was appointed United States Marshal in Fairbanks, Lynn Smith started collecting the priceless reminiscences of the earliest pioneers, those who came into the interior a decade or more before the Klondike was discovered. He was always going to publish them, but like many another sourdough, he just didn't get around to it. It remained for his nephew, Herbert Heller, who was on the staff of Alaska Methodist University recently, to dust off the yarns and prepare them for publication. Sourdough Sagas sparkles with original stories, like, for example, the Mount McKinley alias Dinsmore Peak. Mount McKinley had several names before it was officially called after our 25th president. The Indians called it Denali, the Mountain of the Sun, and the Russians called it Bolshaya, the Big One. But the early Americans in Alaska called it Dinsmore's Peak. Frank Dinsmore went into the interior of Alaska over the Chilkoot Pass way back in 1882, a member of the second party in history to cross the Chilkoot into the Yukon watershed. When he returned to Juneau, he told of a great spectacular mountain he had seen, higher than anything else in the Northland. Later, other prospectors confirmed his story, and for almost 15 years it was known in Alaska as Dinsmore's Peak. But Dinsmore's name was not slated to go down in history. In 1897, the New York Sun carried a story about that huge, spectacular mountain in Alaska. The story was written by a prospector who labeled the mountain McKinley in honor of the Republican president. The name won instant approval in the states. The United States Board of Geographic Names made it official. McKinley was in, Dinsmore was out. I'm sure you will enjoy Sourdough Sagas. It brings to light the adventures and times of the era in Alaska before the Klondike Gold Rush.